Good morning, everyone. Welcome to marketing class, content class. Today is kind of a hybrid of both. This is just there's two of these, and I forgot to switch it anyway. So first and foremost, Tina and Marcy have already said hello. We've got some others on that can say hello if you feel like it. It's okay if you are a lurker and don't like to talk. We know that there's a lot of people like that, and that's quite all right. Jessica is not going to be able to join us today. Her nanny is out sick, and her children are awake. So we probably although they are quite animated, they would keep us from doing what we need to do. So, although Jessica did say yesterday that she's gonna, when Livy gets 5, she's gonna teach her how to do design for us. So, and today, kids, I think that they actually could do that. So, my son's now 24, and he can. I mean, obviously, even way back then, he knew a lot of stuff, like way earlier than you would think. So, anyway, yeah, it is hot. We're so Marcy says, hope we're staying cool. So I think it's hot everywhere just about, but I'm in right now I'm in southern Alabama. I'm at the beach and it's hot here and it's hot in Tampa. So hopefully you're staying cool wherever you are. So today's topic is batching. So we've never had we've talked about it just a little bit in coffee and questions here and there, but today there's an art to batching. So I just want to talk about it and sort of, give you some pointers and kind of how it's batching to me is the whole work smart, not hard thing. Okay. So that's how I like to view it. And it's not for everyone, but it could be. So everyone doesn't embrace it. It's almost like Jessica, is saying multitasking isn't a thing. So for me, it's just putting together a pocket of time to do a whole lot of one thing is really how I like to view it. So, and this can be, man, this can be in so many different things. So if you're not, I mean, obviously, I think everyone knows what batching is, but basically, it's just taking a task and doing a whole lot of it at one time. And um, it can be a series of tasks that you put together, or it can be just one thing over and over and over. I tend to put a series of things together. That way, I'm actually completing something. So you're going to find the right thing that works for you. We do a ton of batching in our business. Just like right now, we're moving over our web presence from, we started a store on Shopify. We sell e-commerce. We've had our site on Kajabi for a long time. And it's great for courses and whatever. It is not great for e-commerce. Shopify is the best of the best when it comes to that. So I, being a developer, have figured out a way to sort of embrace Shopify because of the ad capabilities and just the speed and how fast and it integrates with everything to actually move our courses. So in that spirit, sort of I batch every single day, something. So, but sort of we're in batching phase. And it occurs to me that everyone sort of does not look at it the same way, especially Jessica and I. So as far as batching goes, so we're bringing over the Take Action series that we had, and there's 50 trainings in there. So like for me, I would do everything to bring one training over. I'd have all the steps and I'd bring one training over and then bring another training over. Well, we've got VAs and people that work for us, and everyone's different. So in this task, so this person is wanting to compartmentalize, which is fine. I can work with anyone. But basically to take one little section of it. So let's say it's 3 parts and they want to do all of part 1. And then, so that's done. And then they want to take all of part 2 and then that's done. And then move on to 3. And that's totally fine. But for me, a lot of times every second counts. And the reason I like to do it all at one time is because typically, like when you're copying and pasting or you're moving things, you're usually copying and pasting. It's already on your clipboard. So why not paste it in one spot and paste it in the next spot at the same time, right? So that times 50 in this case will have saved, if it's a minute a task, like that little process, like to go to step 2 and then to do that again and have to get it and whatever, and if it took you a minute to do it that at that point, then I'm saving 50 minutes by doing it like that. But again, so as far as batching goes, you're going to look for places in your business that you can batch. One of the places that I tend to batch that I probably shouldn't is because we're an agency, we still, and I've had customers since 2004, and I still have old school brick and mortar businesses that have been in business for 100 years that still want to mail a check. So I get the checks during the month and I save them up. And then it comes to the next time that my invoices are going to cut. And I realized, oh, I didn't record the deposits, which if you don't record a deposit, it shows that they still owe it. They don't still owe it. Anyway, so in that case, I do batch recording deposits, and I probably shouldn't. I should take that time to do that. But there are some other places in your business that you can batch would be like the first and foremost for everybody here is going to be content creation. And that's one thing I wanted to show you today. That, kind of how we do things or how I do things. And I usually train our VAs to do it just because of, I figure I've, tried it every way possible to save time. Some other ways though, so I want to show you the content creation because that's what we talk about here. But some of the other things that you can do would be billing. Let's say that, I automate our billing, all of our billing. It's all automated. That's why when it comes to like the 20th of the month, I've got to go in and record those deposits. Otherwise, it's going to go out because it's set as an automation. But you can batch let's say you work on a time basis and you don't enter all your invoicing in at one time. So you can, save them up, have some system, Google Analytics, whatever it is. I mean, not analytics, Google Sheets, whatever it is. And you have to come and then do it all at one time. When you're in that mindset, instead of stopping and starting and stopping and starting and stopping and starting, then you're able to make a whole lot more progress for that. But some other places, content, obviously, and we're not just talking about social media content. It can be blogging. You can take all the steps and the things that you need to do and figure out a batch process for that. I'll hold off on that just a second because I want to talk about it in the spirit of content itself. But other things, just straight data entry. There's times when you have to do data entry type things instead of starting and stopping and doing it. Save them all up. If it's scanning your receipts for, the end of the month, if it's, I don't know, something you have to do for a vendor. Hey, Jate, good morning. So currently right now, for everyone that's here live and said hello or that wants to answer, do you currently batch in your business anything? Or what are some things that you do sit down and do a whole lot of? If I could just, I really batch even like web development. Like I want to do a whole lot. Like I would really love to build the whole website in one day and just sit from start to finish. And if it takes 14 hours, I want to sit and do it. And there's a whole strategy around that because especially when you're creative, and that's why I wanted to talk about this for content creation today, is because you're not always creative. I don't care if you're a naturally creative person, you're not always creative. So you want to do some of these things like content creation at the time frame that you're going to be your most creative. So Tina says, content, blog articles, email to my list. I do 3 weeks out. Yes, that's such a good thing. And batching also helps with planning. So you can batch without planning, but if you're thinking 3 weeks out, okay, what is it? So how do I do this? Am I doing it around my promos? Am I doing it around a blog and a piece of content or whatever? But it helps you to plan. Marcy says emails, website updating, blog creation, and calls. That so batching and blocking kind of go hand in hand. And batching calls is a huge time saver for me. I try to block in a time that I am going to sit down and I'm going to like talk with customers. There takes some bandwidth to get in the mindset to do that as well. So most of these things that you could batch, you sort of have to get in a headspace to do them a lot of times. And when you get in that headspace, you get into a momentum. So Jate says, I can't quite get it to work. I get that. Marcy, errand days. Yes. So that's that same vein of blocking, sort of blocking a time and then doing a whole lot of one thing. So I do that too. I'll also put my errands with lunch. I'm going out to lunch. My husband and I have a date lunch every single day. We go out to lunch every day. It's sort of our thing because business, we both work from home, and it's just that's our disconnect, a time to disconnect from work and connect together. So we do that, and we'll do our errands at the same time. So like we're batching that time to go out and do that. Um, so Jate, we talked last week about your workbook. So I've got a template for you. I'm going to shoot it to you this afternoon. So, or actually, I've got a couple of templates for you to check. So I was trying to think of what your style would be or whatever. So, with your workbook, so batching, so like a batch process might be if you were thinking about that project as a whole, and you're going to sit down and you're going to think of like all of the things that go with this, and then you're going to execute and do all of the things that go with this part of it, and get on a plan to do that. So I'm sure if you think about it, there probably are other things that you batch. With us specifically too. I'm going to share my screen and our Canva account. Holy cow. We got a share screen. We got a notification. It's been probably, I saved it forever. I was going to put an email out. It was probably one of those things I was going to save up to when I had time to batch. And then I didn't. That we had over 5,000 designs. And that doesn't sound like a lot until you realize that a design can hold 300 pages in them now. There are 300 other designs inside, and most of ours hold anywhere from 100 to 200. So we've put some content out. It is crazy, especially with all the bundles and things that we have. So anyway, so we are on our pin game right now. So if you, hopefully you can see my Canva account. So let me pull this out of here actually, so I can still see. Here we go. All right. So what I did is I have pulled together, I went in our Canva account and I pulled everything that was ever a pin. I searched and I pulled them all into this one folder, and there's 70 things in here. There's supposed to be 70. It didn't look like 70 when I scrolled right there. And these are even all of our bundles where we've taken them and already put them in pin size. I even dropped these in here too, because I need it as a visual reminder that we can also turn these into idea pins, turn these into carousel pins, video pins, if you will, for that. So I have these in here. And then what I was doing, I'm trying to get to where we're sub out some of our content creation. That's not something that we love to do because we're super particular about what things look like. But in the spirit of batching, let me find a set here. Where is the set I'm looking for? All right, let's take this for example. So this is an old set, but what we have done is we have come up with this set of templates that you go ahead, and this is batching. You go ahead and you take this set and you get it, everything colored, everything Go ahead and get all your fonts in, get them paired up right. And then when it's time to, so here's another example. This isn't the one that's actually styled out. But you get it all set up. And then when it comes time to do 20 or 30 blog title pins that you need to be posting on Pinterest, you're able just to come in and quickly have your blog open in this other screen. Oops. Grab the title, drop it in. Let's just take this for example. So I'm going to scroll through here. Okay, we're going to use this one because it actually will. Here, let me copy this. This is actually what we would do. We would have copied this. I'm going to say 3. And then I'm going to take the whole thing and I'll paste it. 3 reasons a Facebook group. All right, so what's the most important part of this? So Facebook group, that's what people are, that's the focal point. Sorry. All right, so I'm going to take it really quick and I'm going to put it here. So Facebook group, and then I got to get the rest of it and stick it in the bottom. All right, copy. All right, 3 reasons. I probably might have saved time if I actually would have copied and pasted that in. All right, there you go. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to, elements. Let's see if I can find something that looks like a Facebook group image. I'm going to go to photos. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it. We try to stay on brand. I really would do something where I could see more of that. But here, we'll see what that, nope. Anyway, you get the idea. So you find an image that works with what you're looking for, and then drop it in. So you roll on to the next one. You roll on to the next one. You roll on to the next one. After that, you download them all at one time. So when you come in, a lot of people don't know how to download like more than one or singles. So I'm just going to show this really quick. When you download, under this pages, you can get them all at one time. It zips them up, or you can just do just the one that I did. So this is a batching class. So we want to get them all at one time, or the 7 that you did, how many ever it is. Okay. And then get all of that part done, and then move on to the next part where you go back and put it in the website. Let me come back here. All right. Sorry, I'm trying to pause sharing. There we go. All right. So Jate says, I'm all over the place, starting 100 things at the same time. I'm actively trying to start working more efficiently. Entrepreneurial life. We all tend to be like that. So by taking a few minutes to figure out, prioritize what's the biggest thing. I super have a hard time with, my list is super long. I have to, we have VAs, I have to sub out. I'm constantly like looking at what has to be done. We've got a big enterprise going, but even when I didn't, and it was just me doing the things, I still tried to do more than I should. Most entrepreneurs are that way. So make your priority list and then figure out, but batching will actually help you feel a lot more accomplished. Unless you don't do the last 10%. So that's why I like to batch, where I do part 1, part 2, and part 3 all at the same time. Otherwise, I'm stuck at part 3. And it's like I did all the work to get 1 and 2, but it's still not in. So look at it like that and try to start small. I was trying to think of a good application. So recording reels, Jate. We'll talk about that in just a second. Marcy says, can you download, or should I say upload, to Socially Sweet and override? It's only 1 by 1. You can drop them into a CSV, but to do that, you have to download them and then you have to re-upload them somewhere else in a public, like S3, like Amazon S3, or inside Socially Suite. There's a place that you can drop the image and then put it in the CSV file. But the time it takes to put it in the CSV file, you might as well upload it to Socially Suite. So currently, no. The Canva button is coming. Well, it was a Canva button in the old dashboard. It's going to be more of an integration now. They've opened up the API and had more things. So, but in a 1-by-1, it's actually not terrible, because you're already in. So if you've already gotten them all to your computer and you're in and you're editing your caption anyway, you can just drag it over. A lot of times when you will do it, especially if you do them 1-by-1, like downloading 1-by-1, they'll sit in your little tray in like in the bottom area of Chrome or whatever your browser is. You can just drag it up to the top. So batching, your batching process for that might look like opening up another window, having all 7 of them sitting there and just dragging it into the window, editing your caption, and then hit schedule. And then next one, drag it over, edit the caption, hit schedule. That is batching as well. So it doesn't, again, it can be the process of, getting from start to finish in something. It doesn't have to be very micro done. Reels would be a way to batch. I am working on Reels and I will be batching them. I cannot get, so at the beginning, I talked about getting into the headspace to do these things. You creatively, one of the biggest reasons for batching content, social, and these kinds of things is because of the creativity involved to do the things. And when you need to capitalize on when you are feeling that creativeness. So it's just as easy almost to record 3 reels as it is 1, because you've got to get the equipment out. You got to get your ring light out. You got to get your makeup done or not. You got to, there's a lot of people that go au naturel, and then just do whatever. But whatever your prep is to get ready to do the reel, if you did 1 a day, you've got to do that prep every single time, right? But if you do 3 or 5 at one time, you can get ready, get all your equipment out, whatever it is that you need, and get set up, sitting in the chair. If I don't want it to look like I'm doing this, 5 sitting here with the same shirt on, I have 4 other shirts there. I change the shirt, and then I might even change the backdrop. Like you could literally hang a shower curtain. I actually have one that I used to hang all the time back here. You can be in front of a window. You can whatever, just to make it look different. I don't necessarily think you have to change shirts every time. Just change the look, so that the reasoning for that is so that as people are in the scroll, they don't think they've already seen it. You want it to look different each time, somewhat different, like, so that they don't just think they've seen it. The Facebook feed has been crazy lately, too. So just crazy with either showing the same thing over and over, or once you look at one thing, that your feed has just been full of it. Yesterday, I don't even know if I clicked it. Maybe I clicked it, but like a bohemian mural on a floor came up. Well, either I stopped on it long enough to look at it or I clicked it. But after that, I saw 20 more in my feed. It was during the time that I was commenting and trying to, do what we talked about probably last week or the week before, getting engagement, that I did that. And I thought, man, that's crazy. So that's another way to batch too, is talking about the spending the time to go out and do a bunch of comments. Like, again, you're in that headspace of this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to, I'm going to go and I'm going to find some, 5 businesses that are complementary to mine, that I can engage with, that are larger than me, and I'll make some comments there. Okay. And then I'll go and I'll find some that have the same audience as me, and I'll comment there. Right. So I'm taking that time to do all of that at one time instead of starting and stopping, because if you start and stop, man, you'll never get back to it most of the time. Yeah, I had a call after that thing with the Bohemian, um, whatever that pay, whatever it was, they're suggested for you, which is a huge thing. I don't think we talked. I can't remember if I've talked about it recently, but back a while back, like if you had a page, then the only people that would see your posts were people that liked your page. Well, Facebook has opened back up to regular posts now, and reels, of course. Reels are huge, but suggested for you. And that is a way that if you've got some great content, some viral content, that it can be opened up to people that don't already know you. So right now, the fact that Facebook has opened that back up is amazing to help grow and try to come up with some great viral content. Other things that you can batch in the content arena would be, and the way that I like to do it is to set, I think Tina said like 3 weeks of emails. I like to plan a month, and then I want to compartmentalize and I'm like, okay, within that month and that content calendar, maybe we need to do a content calendar class at some point. But you're looking at the things that they're coming up. Are there any holidays in that month that you can capitalize on promo wise, or product, like is any complimentary? Okay. And then from there, I'm looking at, okay, what products will we be having to release? So a new product. Okay. We're going to have this. So I need these pieces that come around that. So once I identify what I'm looking for, then I go and have to make all the pieces, and I do that all at once, for sure, when I can. Threads. That would be something else too that we talked about last week or last Thursday, I think, about the time that it takes to start posting on a new platform. Let's see if I can get it out. And is it advisable to do? Yeah, early adopters typically win, whatever. Threads is losing traction. We were, worried that it was. You don't want to throw all your eggs in that basket, but you also want to be there. So how can you do it and not spend a ton of time? Batching that would look like opening up some kind of Google Doc, Canva Doc, Google Sheet, I don't care, OneNote, Word, I don't care what it is, an email, I don't care. And then, and ChatGPT in our case, and then go get some ideas for your threads and go ahead and batch 30 and get them in there, get them all edited. And then when it comes time, because you can't schedule those as of yet, then you've got that part done, and then you go and you open it up and you go ahead and post it. So you've done the batch work ahead of time, and it just saves that bandwidth, and especially saves the bandwidth of sitting there of the, what am I going to say? Because there's nothing worse than that. Marcy says, I just did wedding invitation day. LOL. Yes. So that's awesome. So some other, any batching can be applied to virtually anything. Batching can be like, again, I have to start with some type of higher way to think about what I'm going to do first. But as far as I drive probably Jessica and some of the other people nuts. We're putting together a Pinterest strategy right now. So what that looks like is, okay, well, we have 250 blogs on our website. We had to batch bringing those from one website to the new website manually. So I had a VA to do that. So that batching process, that's all done. All right, well, we got to open those back up because we want to put title pins on those that can be pinned from the website. So in thinking about that and thinking about manual and schedule and whatever, I'm like, I need to figure out a way to batch this a little bit better. So that's when we came up with, okay, for every blog, we're doing like a set of 100 templates inside so that they can all look different. The worst thing you want on Pinterest is for everything to look the same. So the person that's going to do this project is going to have on their clipboard the title, and they're going to move through that whole set. Now, they won't do 100. They might do 16, let's say 16 per blog title. And then when it comes time to start scheduling those, we just download those, we drop them in a queue, we tell it when it's going to go. And then from there, you've got all this content, and you don't have to sit and make it over and over and over. And that's probably an extreme case sounding, but for your purposes, let's say you have 12 blogs, and let's say you do 12 pins each of title pins, and you pinned every single day. That's 12 times 12 is 144. That only gets you 144 days worth. So, I mean, that's a lot. It's a great thing to strive for, but with Pinterest, it's like repetition and a lot of pinning and repinning and all of those things. So I want to only have to do that work like once. So part of our other strategy for that is we're creating like info style pins. So we'll take, if it was the 5 tips, whatever that Facebook group 5 tips thing was, I would create a visual, like an infographic of it. And it'll be the 5 tips. Tip number 1, tip number 2. And that way, those things are highly pinnable. So with batching, you sort of have to get above what it is that you're going to do and look at the end result and figure out the steps that you've got to get to make that happen the fastest way possible. And again, it might be compartmentalizing to part 1, part 2, part 3, or it might be running through the whole strategy at one time. So again, that'll be up to you to sort of test and whatever. But batching also opens up the ability to outsource. If you don't have something in place, then you definitely can't outsource. And there's a lot of most people, small businesses, solopreneur entrepreneurs, don't think they can outsource things. But if you are making a certain amount of money an hour, but this task is taking you away from making that money. So let's say you make $50 an hour to do this, but this task you could sub out at $7 or $10 an hour or $12, whatever it is, way less than $50 an hour, you should be subbing that out and having a process to do that. And imagine if you just said, hey, I'm going to get my pin game going and I've got all these blogs. How can I get from point A to point B where they get scheduled? That's how you do it. And batching will help that. So as far as batching goes, are there any other ideas that y'all have? I mean, I batch in everything. So I batch in just about everything that I do. If I'm, I don't know, cleaning the house, I'm thinking 3 steps ahead and I'm doing the things that I need to do and getting it marked off. So I'm doing a whole lot of it. Marcy says, I just did a bunch of ChatGPT questions for future posts. Awesome. Me too. Even laundry, dishwasher, etc. Yeah. That's where I get into the multitasking too. So like I've got multiple things going and I'm back and forth. And then since you mentioned, Marcy, about like automation or getting posts in, there is a way that if you don't already have the captions in Socially Sweet, if you've got your set of Canva templates, or it doesn't, I don't guess it has to be Canva, but I don't know who doesn't use Canva today, but you download them all at once. Let's say you did a set of 100 pins. So that's what we did. And then we downloaded them. And then in the publish and then import tab, you can import as a CSV. That's what we do, where the captions are there, or you can import just images and you can import them all at one time, hold them for approval, and then you go and put your captions in. So our strategy for this is that, I might show a ninja trick in a future. No, I'll mention it today, but basically we write captions the same way. We take whatever the image says and we put it in a field in Google Sheets. And then I have a really ninja trick that actually embeds ChatGPT into a Google Sheet. So I can tell it to write a caption for blah, 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 and it spits out into that Google Sheet. But you can do the same exact thing inside the dashboard. Basically, as long as you've got whatever the topic is or the whatever the image is on there, and you can tell it, okay, now write the caption for this. Now write the caption for this one. Write the caption for this one, and you get them all done. Doesn't that feel great? Instead of trying to do one every day as it's time to go approve it, go ahead and approve and get a week done, and then come back and do it again, and then get a week done. It makes you not feel as like you're running behind all the time. It's like, oh my God, I gotta go approve some stuff. So, but I do encourage to look at ways to, especially, we want to be everywhere today. We want to that's like we half or quarter ass being everywhere today because there's so many places to be, just like Threads now, and Twitter and whatever. And automation opens up, and Socially Sweet opens up a whole new ball game for that. But you still have to get the content in, and you still have to sort of make it pertinent for your, to your brand voice. So with that, that's how we roll. We'll do 100 at a time, get them set up, and then we'll move on to the next thing. I'd like to do a second part of this and actually show the process of, it would be sort of a batching process based off of a blog to how we, bye Marcy, but how we go about starting with a blog, or the ideal way. Start with a blog, create an info, or create a blog title pin, create a infographic pin, create a carousel post, create a regular Instagram post or Facebook post, whatever, a regular post, turn that into a real idea, turn that into, 3 other types of whatever. So let me know if y'all would be interested in sort of a flow that would be like that. And basically we would batch that, but we would start with, what our to-do items are, and then we'd come up with a batch plan to make those happen. So we're trying to, we used to do that all the time. We're trying to get back to it now. We've been a product of reaction instead of proactive. We've been reactive. So anyway, any other ideas for batching or questions about batching? Leave them here if you have any ideas, or vote if you'd like to see that, maybe that process next week or the following week of how you can get into a flow of creating that amount of content based off of one blog. I figured that would be sort of beneficial for everyone here if you started with something and get, to a lot of content at the end of that. So awesome. And then if you have any other ideas for future, and I may have to stop the recording and then I'm going to ask a question. So for everyone that's here on replay, be sure to leave us a comment below if you have any questions. We do monitor these, and come to the group, Facebook group, if you have any other questions or topics for future. Thanks so much for joining us.